Once again, howdy, City the Piper Man, Piper the Sailor Man, coming to you from the windy, rainy, tropical, storm hitting our way, Puerto Rico. Wish I had a beer. I don't drink that much. Once in a while, I see weather like this. It's raining, you can hear it. Well, I'm smoking today some Aramore. Leak. It's fruity blend of Virginia. Fruity Tooty. In my Seagull Northern pipe. I love this pipe, man. I just like looking at it. I think this is gonna end up being one of his classics of this century. This is gonna be hard to find, so I went out and bought one. Now I've seen some people have it, but what I like is this bit. It just says fine for clincher, or you can hold it. It's sturdy. You can put your finger on top of it. He kind of like, so I want something that I could hold. You can put your finger over it. You can smoke. Look at this bowl, how he made it. Kind of rough looking, right? But the design, this design, this is basic, the same Northern design. See, he just has that ergonomic, see here, for gripping. Very light. I know it's a good briar. I recall him saying it's a tough time getting briar. So this is Virginia. And this is Flake. Let me show you this. Dark, compacted, press. It usually takes me, I'm just gonna smoke these two. I'm not gonna overdo it. It's have some there, see? So I'm just gonna break. Now, I like to make it into a ball. But what I do is I squeeze on it, let some of it fall off, then stick it in here. Almost like bushy. I don't press too hard when it comes to flake. I actually make it into a ball. Once again, this is what I do. See the residue here, I save for later on. So I come here. When it's nice and moist, you can bend it. I bend it, then I fold it, then I bend it. Till I get it like this. Almost ball. And then I can stick it in. And it contours to whatever pipe. Now the reason why I did that is because basically I know the circumference. You see that? I didn't put. So then what I do is the little leftovers, I go ahead and stick it in there. So it's got like a burning bush. For some reason, I don't like filling it to the top flake. The reason why it expands, once you light it up, it expands. It kind of like puffs up. So the flake, it's made in Denmark, Scandinavia, leaf tobaccos, Aramore. It has Virginia, mellow, burley, sweet, dark, air cured. It's air cured. It just means that they let there's a fire cure. They let air take. There's definitely Virginia tobacco here. I don't think Virginia, unless somebody from Virginia know, they don't really deal with fire cure. Look at this beautiful lighter my wife got me. Art Deco-ish. Really nice, man. Love the color. You know? I didn't mind that. She was like, oh, you need one. It is pretty, man. I think I could refill it too, which is cool. My comb is still not lit yet, so I pat it down. I relight it. This time, I use my matches. See how it expands? Kind of blows up like a volcano. There you go. I got some Evermore, Virginia Flake, citrusy, fruity. Not sweet in the sense additives or toppings on it. The whole process of letting Evermore age allows for its own fermentation from its own. I can taste the difference between the added topping, chemicals. I can't stand that. Sorry. So, shout out to all those that were on that video. Tono told me to go to a video. I met a couple of nice people. It was short though. But that's cool, it's different. The random thoughts. Okay, this is what I want to talk about. I don't know if you heard of Jacque Cousteau, the famous oceanographer, explorer, researcher, inventor. He invented the aqualung, inventor of the aqualung. And back in the 70s, he had a program called The Undersea World of Jacque Cousteau. And you can watch it on YouTube. Really nice man. Smoked a predominantly Peterson pipe. He smoked predominantly English blends. And did a lot of exploring. Tremendous documentary, and his son too. Well, I saw one documentary where he goes to Peru, the border of Bolivia, South America, to this lake. Now, when I first heard the name of the lake, I cracked up. I must have been like 13, 14 years old. That's how old the video is, back in the 70s. 14 years old, 1972. It was called Lake Titicaca. Lake Titi, like in tits, Titicaca. Breast and shit, breaking in English, right? Lake Titicaca. I said to myself, and the thing is, that lake is up at 10,000 above sea level. It's a lake up here, up in the Andes Mountains. Range of the snow-capped mountains of Peru. Come down, empty out, and then from there empties out. They wanted to, how does it empty out? The lake's been there for over thousands and thousands of years. So they decided nobody's ever gone under to see what's under there. So Jacque Cousteau starts off on his ship. He had an airborne called the Calypso. Cool ship, man. I wish I could have taken a ride on it. The ship, he had his own research crew, professional divers, and at that time he was about 70, but he's still pretty good shape, very lean. Looked like he didn't eat. But that's his makeup, you know. Probably Burns, always active. See, he begins to describe with his French accent, and he narrated his own film. So he goes into water, and they go down, they go down, they go down, and it's a deep, deep lake. So they decide one day to do one section of the lake where the fishermen, villages up there, certain fishermen live up there, and they fish in these boats made from like this hay material, reed material. So he starts asking questions about the legends and stuff like that, and he found out that there used to be a city there, and the folklore was that the city was in the lake now, and that when they used to do sacrifices and things like that, they would throw diamonds and things like that in the lake. Somehow the lake expanded from its original size. So they take a deep vessel and they go down. And they go down and they find chambers and caves that at one time was above sea level. So they decide with the modern equipment of that time to go into one of the caves. When they go into one of the caves, all around the wall was nothing but gold, amulets, tasks, all kinds of stuff was down there. So obviously, that lake, it became a lake suddenly. The impact, much like Pompeii, whatever happened, water came. Some people thought it was a deluge, Noah's deluge, but there was a city under there. City that had caves, had passages and everything. He could only do the research so far that the government would let him. He couldn't touch nothing, couldn't take anything. He just brought some artifacts up and gave it to the Peruvian government. Then there was a political infighting between the Bolivian government and the Peruvian government over the artifacts because Lake Titicaca cuts in from one side of the country and the other side of the country. So all that political stuff, Jacque Cousteau said, look, I'm giving this to a court, you guys settle on that. So they shut down his research and he couldn't venture in anymore. But Jacque Cousteau was saying the Mediterranean, the Black Sea, many other parts of the world where there is water now, at one time there were ancient civilizations. And he believes in the story of Atlantis. I do too. When we ever read it, read it. It's very interesting. Where the earth, there's a certain indication at one time, it was called Gondwana, where the earth was one. Something happened that to the crust that the continents began drifting. I don't know if they drifted off slowly, years, but I believe it was something cataclysmic that happened that caused maybe shift in the axis or shift in the distance between the Earth and the Sun cause all kind of things to happen. You see what's happening in the Canary Islands. It happen. I was in Washington, Bremerton, Washington, when Mount St. Helens exploded. For years and years and years, it affected our atmosphere. So it's very interesting. I like studying ancient history, ancient. How did they live? Why is it that they knew more about things than we did, And I've studied the Library of Alexandria in Egypt. Before they say the Library of Alexandria, that library was already there ancient day when Alexander came and he saw what they were doing, and he implemented it. He added on to that library, and they ended up calling it the Library of Alexandria. They always come in. Well, he found it. He discovered it. Listen, all these explorers didn't discover anything. People were living there. It's like you invite me to your house, and I see your house, and I go, "Oh, I discovered so and so's house." The house has always been there. Funny how we like to grandize and tribute people. Lewis and Clark expedition, the Louisiana Territory. What was it called before it was called the Louisiana Territory? What was New Mexico called before it was called New Mexico? Or Mexico. The Spaniards came and called it New Spain. What was Jamaica called before it was called Jamaica? Puerto Rico. Well, it was Puerto Rico before Christopher Columbus came and said, "Oh, rich port." History writers tend to change the narrative. Africa was called Kush. It was called Ethiopia. It was called Nubia. A general rises to power. His name is General Africanus. He ends up being called African. Well, that's it, my friend. I just want to share that. Very interesting. Jacque Cousteau. Check out his documentaries. And he was an avid pipe smoker. Smoked Peterson pipe. They say to the piper man, piper the say to man. Until next time, adios, amigo.